Emily held Daniel's hand tightly as they walked into the grand wedding hall, the warm glow of chandeliers casting a golden hue over the guests. Laughter and applause surrounded them, a perfect scene of love and celebration. Her heart swelled with happiness. She had waited for this day her entire life. Dressed in a breathtaking white gown, she felt like the luckiest woman alive. Daniel whispered in her ear, "I love you more than anything," and she believed him. The ceremony was flawless. Vows were exchanged with trembling voices, promises of forever sealed with a kiss. Guests wiped away tears, enchanted by the couple's love story. Emily's best friend, Sophie, stood by her side, smiling, but something in her eyes flickered, hesitation, concern. Emily ignored it. Tonight was about love, not doubts. As the night unfolded, Emily noticed small things. Daniel's grip tightening when certain guests approached, his eyes darting around as if searching for someone. His mother, always composed, seemed distant. But with the excitement of the wedding, she brushed it all off. After the last dance, the couple made their way to the honeymoon suite. Emily's heart pounded with anticipation. This was their first night as husband and wife, a moment she had dreamed of since Daniel proposed. He held the door open for her, a soft smile on his lips. She stepped inside. The scent of roses filled the air, candles flickering in the dim light. But something was wrong. Her breath hitched. Lying on the bed, wrapped in Daniel's tuxedo jacket, was another woman. Her dark red lips curved into a lazy smirk as she met Emily's horrified gaze. Emily froze. The sound of Daniel shutting the door behind her suddenly felt suffocating. The air thickened. Her ears rang. This wasn't real. It couldn't be. Daniel's body went rigid beside her. Silence stretched, thick with unsaid words. Emily's stomach churned as the woman sat up slowly, lazily brushing her long blonde hair over one shoulder, completely unfazed. "Guess he didn't tell you," she murmured, her voice dripping with amusement. Emily's pulse roared in her ears. Her hands trembled, her vision blurred. She turned to Daniel, desperately searching his face for an explanation, for anything that could undo what she was seeing. But his face, pale, caught, guilty, told her everything she needed to know. Emily's body felt cold, her wedding dress suddenly too tight, suffocating. She forced herself to breathe, but the air felt heavy, thick with betrayal. Her mind raced, trying to piece together an explanation, any logical reason for this nightmare. But there was none. Daniel finally moved, stepping toward her, hands raised in a pathetic attempt to control the damage. "Emily, listen." She flinched back, disgust twisting in her stomach. "Who is she?" Her voice barely came out, but the woman on the bed, completely comfortable, completely unashamed, answered before Daniel could. "Lisa," she said, smirking. "Though I doubt I'm the first woman to warm his bed." Daniel turned sharply, panic flashing across his face. "Lisa, shut up." Emily felt like the ground beneath her had disappeared. Every memory of Daniel, the whispered confessions, the promises of forever, felt like a cruel joke. He had vowed to love her. He had held her hands just hours ago, looking into her eyes as he swore loyalty. "You were with her," Emily whispered, realization dawning. "On our wedding night." Daniel opened his mouth, but no words came. That silence was her answer. Lisa, stretching as if she had all the time in the world, chuckled. "Not just tonight, sweetheart." Emily's stomach lurched. The betrayal wasn't just a mistake, a lapse in judgment. It was deliberate. How long had this been going on? Had he ever really loved her, or was she just a convenience, a perfect bride for appearances, while he indulged in his real desires behind closed doors? Her mind flashed to Sophie, to Daniel's mother, to the tension she had ignored. Had they known? Did they pity her, standing beside her in her white dress, while she unknowingly walked into this humiliation? She clenched her fists, the anger starting to burn through the numbness. "You married me while sleeping with her?" Daniel finally found his voice, desperation seeping through. "It's not like that. I was going to end it, I swear. Tonight was a mistake." Lisa snorted. "Funny, that's not what you said last night." Emily couldn't look at him. Every inch of her ached with the weight of betrayal. The man she had loved, the man she had trusted, had shattered her with no remorse. She had spent years believing in a love that never truly existed. She turned away. She couldn't be here. Not for another second. Daniel's voice was pleading now. Emily, please. We can fix this.
She didn't respond.
There was nothing left to fix. Emily's hands stopped shaking. The initial shock had passed, replaced by something sharper, colder. She lifted her phone, snapped a picture of Daniel and Lisa, and turned on her heel. Daniel grabbed her wrist. Emily, wait. Don't do this. She yanked away. Do what? Expose you for what you are. His face twisted in panic. He wasn't scared of losing her, he was scared of people finding out. Lisa, however, looked amused, completely unfazed by the chaos she had caused. Emily stormed out, her heartbeat steady now, controlled. She made her way back to the ballroom, ignoring Daniel's footsteps following her. Conversations hummed. Laughter filled the air, people still celebrating a marriage that was already dead. She found Sophie first. Send this to everyone. She thrust the phone into her best friend's hands. Sophie glanced down, her eyes widening in horror before she immediately did as told. Gasps rippled through the room as phones buzzed. Conversations halted. Guests turned, confusion shifting to shock as they saw the images. Murmurs grew into whispers, then outrage. Daniel's mother approached, her face pale. Emily, what's happening? Emily held her gaze. Ask your son. Daniel stumbled into the room, his face a mask of desperation. Mom, Emily, it's not. His mother slapped him. The sound echoed. How could you? She hissed. On your wedding night? Daniel looked around, eyes darting between the guests, searching for someone, anyone, to defend him. But they all stared at him like he was a stranger. Lisa finally emerged from the hallway, fixing her dress with a smirk. Well, that was fun. Daniel turned to her, panic rising. Lisa, help me fix this. She raised an eyebrow. Fix it? Oh, Daniel, sweetheart, I was never here for this. He froze. Lisa sighed, almost bored. Did you really think I wanted more? You were entertainment.
But now.
She gestured toward the stunned crowd. Now you're just a disaster. And with that, she walked out, leaving him standing in the wreckage of his own making. Emily stepped closer, lowering her voice. Enjoy your wedding night, Daniel. Then, without looking back, she walked away. Emily didn't shed a single tear. She refused to let Daniel have that power over her. By the next morning, the annulment papers were already in motion. There was nothing to salvage, no apologies, no explanations, no second chances. He had made his choice long before she discovered the truth. Sophie stayed by her side, making sure she ate, making sure she slept, making sure she didn't drown in the weight of betrayal. But Emily didn't break. She focused on moving forward, on reclaiming the life she had almost handed over to a liar. Daniel tried to call. He sent messages, long-winded attempts at rewriting history. It was a mistake. I love you. I never meant to hurt you. She blocked him. His downfall came swiftly. The scandal spread beyond their circle, reaching his workplace, his colleagues, even his business partners. His once polished reputation crumbled, whispers of his betrayal overshadowing his professional achievements. He was no longer seen as charming or successful, just another man who had thrown away everything for momentary pleasure. Lisa had disappeared as quickly as she arrived. Without the secrecy, the thrill was gone. She had no use for a man who was now more burden than benefit. Months passed and Emily thrived. Therapy helped her unpack the hurt, helped her understand that his betrayal was not a reflection of her worth, but of his own emptiness. She poured herself into work, into friendships, into rediscovering the things that made her feel whole. At a wedding months later, this time as a guest, not a bride, she felt no bitterness, only clarity. Love wasn't a fantasy, it was a choice. A choice Daniel had failed to make. Across the room, she felt a gaze on her. She turned, meeting the eyes of a man, someone new, someone different. His look held curiosity, admiration. Not possession. Not deceit. Daniel had lost her forever. And she had never been more free.